Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So according to various reports online, Devin Haney's next opponent could very well be Jorge Linares. Now the working date being spoken about is April 17th, and yeah, it's looking very likely that we could see this fight next. Now what are my thoughts on this fight? Well, in all honesty, I don't think it's that bad, quite frankly. First and foremost, you have to consider what is available. Ryan Garcia doesn't really seem too keen to fight Devin Haney. Javier Fortuna seems to want to go a different direction. Teofimo Lopez looks like he's going to fight George Kambosos Jr. in his next fight. And it looks like Lomachenko's comeback fight will be Nakatani. So to me, Jorge Linares represents one of the better options available at this current time for Devin Haney. Now, is Jorge Linares the fighter he once was? Absolutely not. Having said that, I still believe this version of Jorge Linares would be the very best opponent that Devin Haney has fought to date. So I do see this as a step up in competition. I guess I'll put it like this. I actually believe Jorge Linares would beat anybody on Devin Haney's resume to date. So yeah, I do see this as a step up in competition. Yeah, of course, Linares, not the guy he once was, but it's a step in the right direction for Devin Haney. He's obviously got that belt, and he's not really fought the level of competition to legitimise himself as a champion. You know, when you look at his resume considering he's a champion, it is very weak, and I think Jorge Linares, if he were to beat him, would actually improve that resume a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I still believe Jorge Linares will be Devin Haney's toughest challenge. Linares at 135, he can definitely crack. He's got power in both hands, still got very good hand speed. He's a good combination puncher, very experienced, former freeweight world champion. Jorge Linares, you know, he's a flawed fighter, but exceptionally talented. He's been there, seen it, done it, fought a lot of guys, so he's got bags of experience. And this obviously would be a big opportunity for him to get himself back in that title picture. In fact, if he wins this fight, he becomes a champion and his name once again is up there for big money fights. So going into this one, if it were to get made, Jorge Linares would have a lot to fight for, and I'm sure he would be very motivated going into this fight. You know, basically because this is last chance saloon for Jorge Linares at the elite level, and I think that's how he would see it, quite frankly. I don't think Linares would approach this fight as one final payday, you know, just getting one more payday then getting out. I think he'll go into this fight with a lot of determination and hunger to actually get himself back to the top of the lightweight division, and it's the perfect fight for him to do that. So yeah, I still see Jorge Linares as a good opponent for Devin Haney, and he brings something different to the table. Like I said, I don't think Devin Haney's fought anybody who can punch as hard as Linares. He's not fought a combination puncher like Linares, and he's not fought anybody with the hand speed of Linares. I know historically Gamboa had very quick hands, but by the time Devin Haney got to him, he was definitely slowed down quite a touch. I don't think Jorge Linares has slowed down as much as Gamboa had, quite frankly. So yeah, I would see Linares as Devin Haney's best opponents, and potentially he can actually ask some questions of Devin Haney. For example, his chin. We know Linares can punch a bit. What happens if he clips Devin Haney? For all we know, Devin Haney's got an eggshell chin. Or maybe he's got a granite chin. We don't know, because he's not really been touched against anybody decent, quite frankly. And I think Linares fits that bill to test Devin Haney at this point. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a pretty decent step up for Devin, and a step in the right direction. Of course, there are fights I would rather see. I would love to see Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, but for whatever reason, Ryan Garcia seems to have no interest in that fight whatsoever. He just won that interim WBC title, and he doesn't seem willing to fight the full champion in Devin Haney. Well, what was the point in winning that title in the first place, the interim title? What was the point if you're not going to fight the full champion? So yeah, don't get me wrong, there are fights I would have rather have seen. Even Javier Fortuna, his mandatory, I would have rather have seen that, because I think Fortuna has a little more to offer in terms of what he's got left in the tank. But once again, he doesn't really seem too keen. So yeah, when you look at best options available, I think Linares would be one of those best options. So yeah, all in all, if this fight were to get made, I wouldn't be crying or unhappy. I'd be somewhat looking forward to it, quite frankly. So Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how everybody else is going to feel about this fight. Maybe you guys might disagree with me and say Linares is completely done, but yeah, while he's well past his best, I still think he poses certain problems, and I still think he's fighting at a relatively good level. In fact, when you watch Linares' last fight against Carlos Morales, he actually looked very good in that fight. And you know, Carlos Morales, for example, fought Ryan Garcia a little while before, and he gave Ryan Garcia a real hard fight, whereas Linares blew him away. So at 135, I still think Linares is relatively dangerous and a good opponent for Devin Haney. But there we go, that's just my opinion. Share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy, peace.